Testing. January 4th, 1982. This is Joe Todd, interview with Jesse Teeters. Mr. Teeters, when were you born?
July the 12th, 1903.
Where were you born?
So I think in Springfield, Missouri.
And how old were you when you left Missouri?
Well, I don't know how old I was when I left Missouri. We come out here and filed out here early in
What, in the Panhandle? In the Panhandle?
well, up by Springfield.
Oh, Springfield, Colorado.
Springfield, Colorado. We filed there. But Dad had run a shop there in Missouri for years.
Who was your father?
W.E. Teeters, William Edward Teeters.
What did he do?
He was a blacksmith.
Mm-hmm.
And he could fix things that other people couldn't fix.
Mm-hmm.
There in Nevada, Missouri, we stayed there, and there was a whole bunch of shops in Nevada, and a big asylum out there and all. And he went in there and bought out a shop, and they told him, they said, "You'll starve to death in that town." And he started working, and it wasn't long till there was just him and another shop left there. Mm-hmm. All the rest of them pulled out.
Yeah. What was your mother's name?
Ezel.
Ezel?
Mm-hmm.
Was that her last name?
That's her last name.
Her maiden name? Yeah. Well, was your father from Missouri?
Mm-hmm.
Was your mother from Missouri also?
I think so.
Yeah.
We all came from Missouri.
And your father?
Down in the southern part of Missouri there, Dad's family was about one of the biggest families that there was down in there. There was, I think, 28 in his family in southern Missouri when he was a kid. Yeah.
Do you remember when your father came to Colorado and filed?
No, I don't know the year.
You know how old you were?
No, I don't know that. It was when there was the first filing, but I don't remember what it was.
How'd you come to Colorado?
I think we came in a car out there.
Mm-hmm.
Springfield only had about 3 houses in it, Springfield. Up there, only about 3 houses in it. And we landed into Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started to putting out leases on the land, you know, and it began to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dad was a blacksmith. Dad was...
They're in Springfield?
Well, he wasn't in Springfield. He come out and filed on the place, and after he filed on the place, just a little while after that, they, up in our country, there wasn't anything, you know. But over at Vilas, C.F. Wheeler run the store there, and he had a man there that was a blacksmith.
Where was this?
At Vilas, Vilas, Colorado. Then there was C.F. Wheeler was running the store, and this fellow running the blacksmith shops there. And then they had a schoolhouse there in the school. And so over in our country, we didn't have a school or anything. And so the fellow that was running the shop took sick over there at Vilas, and he decided he was going to go home. Him and Wheeler was running it down there. And so he told Wheeler, he says, I believe I'll go home. And so they contacted Dad, and Dad went over there and went into his house there and went to running the shop.
A blacksmith shop?
Blacksmith shop. And he run that blacksmith shop there for, I don't know, a long time. But that fella went home, and he died in just a few weeks after he went home.
Where was his home?
So I don't know. I believe it was down in Arkansas or somewhere.
Did you go to school there?
So there's no school out there in our country, So I went down there, and Dad was staying in that fellow blacksmith's house there, and I went to school at Vilas there. That whole year I went to school there.
What was the name of the school?
Vilas.
Vilas School?
Vilas School.
Remember your teacher's name?
No, I don't remember the teacher's name.
What was your favorite subject?
Oh, I don't know. At that time, I don't know.
What kind of school building was it?
I don't remember what it was. Kind of seems to me like it might have been Port Rock, but I don't remember now.
When your father filed on the land, what kind of house did he build?
He just I think 2 or 3 rooms is all we had.
Was it a frame or was it sod?
It was a frame that he first built. Yeah. And then after that, when we went over to Vilas, you see, we just went over there, left it.
How far is Vilas from your claim?
I don't know. I believe it's about 28 miles. I wouldn't know.
Did he file around Springfield, Colorado?
Did Dad file around?
Is that where he filed, in that area?
He filed, you know where Campo is?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're about 8 or 9 miles northwest of Campo. That's where we filed there.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry?
I said I did a lot of mounting back in those
Mounting,
days.
like taxidermy?
Taxidermy. And bird. I've got a collection there I give to them in Springfield. It's there in Springfield. And they've got it in I heard they built a room to put it in. And,
With the what there at the museum? Let me see. And your father was a blacksmith his whole life then?
Blacksmith his whole life. Dad could do blacksmith work that other people couldn't do.
What about your mother?
Well,
She just a housewife or farmer's wife? Or?
She was just mother to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she done a lot of things.
Did you farm the land?
And she could crochet or do anything that way. Yeah, we farmed our land.
What'd you raise?
Oh, a little bit of everything.
Did you farm the whole 160 acres or just part of it?
We farmed, we filed on 320, you know.
320.
We filed on 320, and we had about half of it was in farming land, and the rest was grass. and then there was quite a bit of grass around. The government put in a kind of a pasture there, and we run our cattle on the pasture there for quite a while.
What kind of cattle did you have?
We used the whiteface.
Whiteface?
Uh-huh.
What was your major crop? What was your largest crop?
Oh, I don't know which was the largest. Well, we raised grain and all, and for lots of times on farming, we'd raise quite a bit of broomcorn and then get it pulled and sell it. And we played ball, or formed a ball team there and played ball
This in Vilas?
at Edler, Colorado.
Now, when did you move to Edler?
Edler is where we moved in the beginning.
Oh, that's down by Campo.
Well, it's west of Campo. It's it's 5 or 6 miles south and some back east.
When did you meet your wife?
I am not married.
You never been married?
Never been
Okay.
married. I got hurt and all back, and I just never did get married. And ball teams there, we formed ball teams all over the county and played ball. And me and I forget who the other fellow was, we handled the biggest part of the ball teams where they played and all about it and everything.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I had one sister.
Have any nieces and nephews?
Not as I know of. Well, I've got a lot of them on Dad's side. Dad's family was one of the biggest families that I ever heard of. But was down in Missouri, you see, and we was away from them from there, and I don't even know them.
Yeah.
He knew them, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We made one trip when I was just a kid, clear down through the southern part of Missouri and visited these families. But I was just a kid at that time.
When did you form these ball teams? About what year?
Well, I don't know what time of year it was. And we played ball all over the outfit, and we won the games there, playing ball.
You ever go to Denver?
Yes, I went to Denver, but just for something.
When was the first time you went to Denver?
I don't remember.
What did the town look like? How
Well,
big was it?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
And playing ball, I used to run the ball team. And we played ball all over the county. And the year we played over the county, we won it. And we was only about 6 or 8 miles from Campo, you know, and around and all, but we played all over the county.
Do you remember World War One?
Yes, I remember World War One.
Did you do any work for the war effort?
I don't remember. I worked for the government for different things when I was running the store there at Edler all the time. They had me working for them, and I worked for the government all the time.
Yeah.
For anything that they wanted, they'd contact me.
What kind of store was it?
There's a grocery store, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I handled everything, general store, gas, even gas and oil. And
When did you start working there?
well, I don't know what year it was. There was a store already there on the corner to begin with. An old man and his boy was running the store there, and they run it quite a little while. And I bought in this other store. Somebody started it, so I went in and bought it out. And then, boy, I really was making them work.
That was after World War I, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. They have a post office there also?
Yeah, it was the post office. That's what I was going to tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
I went in there, and the other store, the man running the other store, had the post office. Well, I couldn't get the post office, so I just went into the other store and worked, and we worked and all and everything. And the first thing you know, the fella that was running the other store, he decided that he was going to sell out and go back to Kansas there. And his father was there, so he just went and says, I'll just turn the post office over to you. He had the post office. Mm-hmm. So he just turned the post office over to his father and all. And so in about, just a few days after that, the post office inspector come out there and all, and he said they couldn't turn that post office over to his father. And he said that it couldn't be done, and he said that they'd put it up for election and find out what they could do about it and all. And so they set a day to vote in Lamar up there, go up there on a certain day in Lamar and vote to see who would get the post office at Edler. Well, the old man that this fellow that was postmaster that left with his dad, he come over to my place that next day, the day that we was ready to go to Lamar to vote and see who was going to win the post office. He come over there to me and he says, he says, I ain't got any way to get to Lamar to take that examination at all. He says, I ain't do it. And he says, I don't see how I'm going to get up there. Well, I says, if you're wanting to, I says, you just come and go with me and I'll take you up. And he said, okay, he would. So he come and we went up to Lamar and went in and they got ready for the examination. We went in and took the examination, and after we took the examination, they turned us loose, and we went out and I believe we went and eat then. And then we got ready to come home, and he says to me, he says, he says, I couldn't answer any of them questions. He says, I just couldn't answer any of them questions. And he says, I just had to quit. And so then when it come back, I was the one that went on the post office.
So you became the postmaster?
I became postmaster at Edler, and I moved it over there and run it from then on out, clear out to the end.
You get your certificate from the postmaster general?
I don't know where I got the post office outfit put me in there, and I run it, and we'd have inspectors down there and everything and go on every once in a while through there, and I never did have a bit of trouble, whatever.
How long did you run the post office?
Till it quit.
When was that?
I don't remember. I don't remember. You see, I got hurt later on, and you ask me something, and I know it just as well as anything in the world, but lots of times it'll just leave me.
Yeah.
And then in maybe 20 or 30 minutes, it'll come to me, you know. And
When you went to Lamar to take the examination, how big was Lamar? What did the town look like?
it's a pretty good sized town. It's a pretty good sized town, Lamar was.
What was the population of it at that time?
I don't
Do you
know. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And we formed a ball team down there in our country, and we played all over the whole county, and we won the county up playing baseball. I was running the team there at Adler.
Yeah.
And
Do you remember the Depression in the 30s?
I remember it, yes, but I don't remember too much of it.
Did it affect you that much, the Depression?
Oh, I don't know as affected me anyway.
Of course, a lot of people lost their jobs and everything.
Yes, a lot of people lost their jobs, but
Of course,
it didn't hurt me.
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm. What about the dust storms, the Dust Bowl?
Well, I was used to dust storms, and I didn't think nothing about them. I knew how to handle them.
How'd you handle them?
Well, I just handled them.
Can you describe what a dust storm looked like?
Well, the dust storm, sometimes it'd be look like a kind of a cloud coming up, and then all of a sudden the wind would tear loose and really go, and sometimes in them storms there'd be whirlwinds in places, you know, and they done quite a bit of damage.
How'd you keep the dust out of your house?
Well, I don't know, had it fixed best we could, but as dust gets in, the dust would get in
Mm-hmm.
when we had a bad dust storm.
Did you seal the windows and doors?
What?
Did you seal the windows and doors in the house, or?
No, Dad fixed them so they kind of worked in together some way. Like when you shut, Dad was a blacksmith, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd been a blacksmith all of his life in Missouri, where they had all kinds of that kind of work. And he was given up when we first come to this country to be the best blacksmith in the country.
Mm-hmm.
He was.
What about World War II?
Well, World War II.
You do any work for the war effort in the 40s?
Yeah, seemed like I was working for the government, but I don't remember what I done. I was doing things for them and all, but I don't remember what it was.
Did many boys from that area go to the war?
What?
Did many boys from southern Colorado go to the war in that
Yes,
area?
Yes, I think there was quite a few going.
Yeah. Oh, let me regress for a minute. The flu epidemic of 1918. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, the flu of 1918.
Did very many people get the flu?
A lot of people had got the flu and all,
A lot of people died?
and there was several died. But the main thing, they didn't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm. How did you handle it?
Back sex was the thing that generally seemed like caused the worst trouble on it.
What was?
Kind of a back set.
Yeah.
Take a cold or something after they got it. And
How did you handle the flu? Did you get it?
I had the flu a little bit, but it didn't amount to much with me.
Yeah. What'd you do to keep from getting it? Or getting it any worse?
I don't remember. Me run the store and my folks and all of us. And that old man, after he couldn't pass the examination and went down there, he wasn't in business but just a little while and went out of business. And I went on and went to run the store at the Edler, and it got big, and I helped out on the different farmers around that was working. And we formed ball teams and played ball all over the county, too.
What's your favorite childhood memory?
Childhood memory? What do you mean about that?
What do you remember most about your childhood?
That's been so long ago, I don't remember.
What kind of games did you play as a child?
Well, we played baseball, and there at Edler, when I was running the store, I was captain of the baseball team, and we beat the whole county playing baseball.
What about in school? What kind of games did you play?
Well, in school, I went to Lamar to high school in Lamar when we first come out here as a kid, and I went up there and I dealt with them up there in high school at Lamar. And
You played ball in high school?
no, I didn't play ball with them up there at high school. I was studying high school.
What year did you graduate from high school?
I don't remember.
Well, what was the name of the high school? Just Lamar High School?
Just the Lamar High School. I didn't graduate in Lamar in the high school. Seems to me I went just 2 years in Lamar. I got so I could work for somebody up there and stay with them and as friends of ours and go to school. And I went 2 years in Lamar.
Yeah. Did you finish high school?
I don't think I did.
When did you move to Oklahoma? When did you come down here?
When I come down here, I was here they brought me down here and put me in the hospital.
So it's just been recently then?
Yeah, just recently they put me in here. I don't know what happened, but I've been told, there's a whole bunch that I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
Now, when I would first come to, when I come down here and they put me in this hospital, and I first come to, I didn't know nothing. Didn't know nothing about anything or anything. And it seems to me like they told me I was in here 2 years before I come to, after they brought me down here. There was some of us, we went into Canada up there, me with a kind of an army or something they had. We went up into Canada there, and when we got up in there, I don't know what happened. Something happened up there, and I went all to pieces and didn't know anything. And I don't know whether I was the only one or just some more. And they took me along with them, and they'd get doctors everywhere they'd come to try to straighten me out so I'd know what I was doing, and they wouldn't find them at all. Then at last they went to, I don't know what it was, seems like it was an army or something from America up there doing something, but I don't remember. And then they said that at last they got me clear up to an Asian doctor, They said they couldn't bring me to. All the doctors that they'd had on to me couldn't bring me to. And they got a hold of an Asian doctor. And he come down there, and they said that in just a few days, he brought me kind of out of it. And they brought me down here, and they have told me that I've been in here, I think they said 2 years I was in here and didn't know anything. And I just began to come to myself just here the last, this last year. I began to come to myself, and I know things and remember things and everything that way. But now I don't know whether that's the truth because I can't remember it.
Yeah.
Now, they said I've been in here 2 years, I think it was, in the hospital here, and I don't even remember being in here at all, or don't remember nothing about it.
Before you came down here, do you live in Edler? So you lived in Edler all the time in Colorado then?
Well, let me see, I don't remember for sure, just you see, this sickness I've had makes it hard for me to remember stuff. But I, up there while everything was working and all, I done a whole lot of I, up there while everything was working and all, I done a whole lot of things, and I've got quite a bit of money in the bank, everything. I checked, wrote a letter up there the other day, checking to see how much I still had in the bank.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that going completely out, I don't know what caused that. Oh, I don't know. About 6 months ago is when I began to could think.
Yeah.
And my mind began to come back to me, and it's all come back to me, and I can think.
Yeah.
And I'm getting better every day.
That's good. Well, Mr. Teeters, I think we have a good interview.
Well, I've never done no great stuff that I know of.
Oh, everybody's done something.
Oh, I've done something, but
Everybody has a story.
yeah, but I'd have had a story if I hadn't had whatever's happened to me. I could remember, but I can't remember. You see, everything's left me. That part's all left me.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you.